So next up, podcast listeners, Ohio mayor puts the school board on notice. This is epic, podcast listeners. I mean, epic. So there's a mayor in Chicago, and he has done something unbelievable. A mayor in Ohio told all 5 local school board members to resign during a board meeting or face charges over class material for high schoolers he deemed child pornography. So we have a clip on this. Before we tell you about the clip, before we let you hear the clip, I want to read a little bit more of this so you understand the context. Schubert's comments, Schubert being the mayor, came in response to writing prompts found in a book called, quote, 642 or 642 Things to Write About, end quote, which had been distributed to some high school students who were taking a college credit course. So, high school students were given this book called 640 Things. So that's 642 Things to Write About. Strange name, right? For a book anyways. Like, what does that have to do? Well, listen to this. The material included asking students to write a sex scene you wouldn't show your mom. Rewrite the sex scene into what you would let your mom read. So that was another one. And another prompt asking students to drink a beer and describe how it tastes. In other words, a book encouraging teenagers to break the law with the drinking part of it. And the other part of it, of course, is about teachers and the curriculum writers sexualizing students and, in my opinion, obviously crossing the line. You haven't heard anything yet. There's more to it. Listen. So Monica Havens is a mother in this school district. She has a high school senior who received the book 642 Things to Write About. And she also was a teacher for 11 years, this mom. And she decided, since she's a teacher, she was able to get many of the prompts from the book that the students were supposed to write about. And this is from the book, and these are the curriculum requirements from the teachers. Listen to this. Write something about these things. Choose how you will die. I mean, we already have a problem with teenage suicide. Write something about choosing how you will die. Write a scene that begins, "It was the first time I killed a man." Describe your favorite part of a man's body using only verbs. You have a dream that you've murdered someone. Who is it? How and why did the murder happen? And what happens afterward? You are a serial killer. What TV shows are on your DVR list and why? Write a sex scene you wouldn't show your mom. Rewrite the sex scene from above into one that you'd let your mom read. You have just been caught in a bed by a jealous spouse. How will you talk your way out of this? Write a sermon for a beloved preacher who has been caught in a sex scandal. You always know when the left writes curriculum because they hate religion. And they also, for whatever reason, want to sexualize minors. And I firmly believe the left believes in pedophilia. Because why else would you write this? That's curriculum. Here's another one. Describe a time when you wanted to orgasm but couldn't. 10 euphemisms for sex. Now imagine if you're a teacher and one of the assignments is to say to the kids, describe a time when you wanted to orgasm but couldn't. And the kid writes this in a paper and your teacher reading this, and it's all this private stuff which has no business in the curriculum of any school from K to 12. Wouldn't you be a criminal at that point if you're a teacher? Here's one. You are a brand new suicide hotline counselor. Describe how you feel during the course of your first call. Write a letter from the point of view of a drug addict. Drink a beer. Write about the taste. Write an X-rated Disney scenario. write an X-rated Disney scenario. A room full of people want to sleep together. Write about that. Write about the first time you had sex. These are high school students having to write, ladies and gentlemen, about all of the things that I just described and passing that on to the teacher. Okay? They have to pass that paper on to the teacher. So this information made its way to, of course, the parents, and the parents decided to contact Hudson, Ohio Mayor Craig Schubert. He's the mayor of Hudson, Ohio. Craig Schubert decided to go to the school board and make a very brief statement. This is epic, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to what he said. Here it is.
Earl, members of the board, my name is Craig Schubert. I'm the mayor of this city. It has come to my attention that your educators are distributing essentially what is child pornography in the classroom. I've spoken to a judge this evening. She's already confirmed that. So I'm going to give you a simple choice. You either choose to resign from this Board of Education, or you will be charged. Thank you.
Is that epic? Is that epic or what? If you're wondering, podcast listeners, if you're wondering, ladies and gentlemen, how to fight back against school boards, how to fight back against the left, sexualizing your children and abusing them and breaking the law and trying to engage, the left is, in pornography and trying to engage in pedophilia, which is clearly what this is. This is clearly a bunch of sick teachers wishing they could have sex with the kids. I'm convinced. Why else would you give this to them? If you want to know how to fight back, listen to that Hudson Ohio mayor. Listen to him. It's perfect. What he did was, before he went to the school board meeting, he probably talked to the state's attorney in his county and said, hey, wouldn't it be a crime if you, as an adult, let's just say you're not a teacher, you're an adult, and you give this list to a kid and say, hey, can you write about these things? Well, what if you're a teacher? Do they have special status? Do they have special protections? Do school boards have special protections from the law that they get to break it? But everybody else has to live by the law, but not you because you're a teacher or you're a member of the school board? I don't think so. And so apparently the judge basically said, yeah, I would issue warrants for their arrest. And so the mayor had that conversation prior to going to the school board and basically said, you need to resign or you're going to get arrested. That's how you fight back, podcast listeners. And it just doesn't stop there either. In the Daily Wire, after reviewing a Netflix show, a parent group demands child pornography investigation. It's just up too, brand new article. Through Netflix's animated series, Big Mouth bills itself as TVMA and is ostensibly intended for adults. It features, even though it's allegedly for adults, it features 12 and 13-year-old characters engaging in sex acts and includes animated nudity and graphic dialogue, according to a parent group demanding Netflix be investigated over the show. So here's the thing. If you have a show that's intended for adults and there are 12 and 13-year-olds who are engaging in sex acts, that's actually against the law. You can't do it. One scene, for example, shows a 13-year-old boy who doesn't want to be left at camp yelling, I'll blank your, the other word starts with a D, I'll S your D, to his departing father. Let me say that again. One scene in this show shows a 13-year-old boy who doesn't want to be left at camp, and he yells that, what I said before, to his father who's leaving. Another shows a group of middle school boys fully nude in a shower, waving their private parts. Still another scene shows two boys discussing mutual masturbation, sharing tips on how to masturbate, and fondling themselves in front of one another. This show is called Big Mouth. and it's on Netflix and allegedly is intended for adults. Well, obviously, they're breaking the law. So a parents group is just like, look, you got to take this off. And of course, Netflix, I'm sure, like all, progressives and out of control people in this society who are producing this crap are probably saying, well, you can put controls on your Netflix account so your kids can't watch it. It's like, you're missing the point. It's not just that I don't want my kids to watch it. It's that you have kids on this program, whether they're animated or not. And you're trying to entertain parents with those children. And those children are engaging in sex acts. So it's not just pornography. It's pedophilia. It's people, you're basically encouraging pedophilia. You're normalizing pedophilia. And this is the left, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we are today. This is what happens when you have no morals, when you really don't care, when people look the other way, and school boards take over, and these woke mobs take over in your schools, and they teach this garbage. Johnny can't do math very well, but he sure knows a lot about all this other stuff. I mean, that's really where we are today in American history. And we, the people, need to fight back. I am convinced more than ever that the conservatives in 2022 are going to rock. Because even Democrat parents, even reasonable Democrat parents and independent parents know that this stuff is bad. This is really bad stuff. They want to protect their children from this crazy stuff. It's not just a conservative thing to try to get this thing out of the public schools.